Thank you very much for joining me this morning, Anne-Lise. Obviously, we've had a few chats, but I guess for everyone else maybe who's not as familiar with yourself and the Berkeley partnership, would you be able to give a bit of an intro into what you do and why we're having this conversation?
Great, yes. So I'm a partner at the Berkeley Partnership. I've been at Berkeley for about 6 years now, and the Berkeley Partnership is a management consultancy. We specialise in transformation, and any part of your transformation, looking at strategy, definition, operating model, implementation, big IT and tech implementation, data, you name it. So yes, all the part of the transformation.
Okay, awesome. And I guess kind of going right back to the start then. So how did you get into the industry? How did you get into consulting?
So I became a consultant 17 years ago, I guess. But I after doing an MBA, I really enjoyed my strategy courses at the time, and then joined a consultancy group, which was quite small and niche in the UK. I think I just fell in love with consultancy and being a management consultant straight away, just because of the diversity of roles, the opportunities of development. The sort of the breadth of work that we do is constantly different, and I feel like on every client I keep learning everything different all the time. So I think that suited my personality really well, and I just fell in love with consultancy from the word go.
Brilliant. Lots of people have very similar reasons, so that's fantastic to hear. Leads quite nice onto our next question then. Obviously, I know you've got a really sort of strong academic background. A lot of people who are looking to break into consulting, for them, is it essential in your opinion? Are there other routes? What do you find works well for you and maybe the Berkeley partnership as a whole?
I guess in today's world, I think it's still important to have a minimum number of degrees. I'm not sure about an MBA, but definitely a minimum sort of 3-year university degree is important in today's world. I think things are changing a bit, like, we talk about diversity and inclusion and a profile of people working as consultants. And I think, and what we want to watch the space of apprenticeship, for example. So I think today it's still important, but we are looking at opportunities, and I think the world is going to change with different opportunities to becoming consultant.
And what do you think it is that's important about that? Is it, I guess, that ability to be autonomous and be independent and be able to bring different things? Or sorry, I'm trying to put words in your mouth, but why do you think it's important for you, maybe the Berkeley partnership as things stand currently?
I think there is it's the structure and a mindset. Actually, it's on every project you kind of need to be able to think about, how am I going to structure my responses, how am I going to plan my work, and I do think a degree of some sort today does help you learn those basics, whatever degree it is. But it's also learning how to write properly, sort of impactful summaries of what you do. We learn on the job a lot how to do that, but I guess that's why we also look at people with a minimum degree. And being a consultant, I have to say, I still do a lot of research. I read so much. Harvard Business Reviews, McKinsey's summaries. It's part of what I do, is I'm constantly reading to make sure I'm up to date with everything. So that's also something that you learn, right, at university, is you take the theory from the books, but you actually learn to use it in a very pragmatic way. And so I guess these are skills that you kind of learn early on at university that you can then replicate on the job. But again, as I say, I think the world is evolving, and I'm up for it personally. I wouldn't say it's a Berkeley thing. I'm up for it as an individual. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, it'd be really interesting to see how that changes. And obviously, apart from your role day to day, I think the reason that I came across you in particular was I know you're quite active in the space, and diversity and inclusion is something that you're really passionate about. So what can myself, what can you, what can everyone be doing to help make sure we are doing, supporting diversity and inclusion across the space?
I think it's just, again, what can we do? I mean, we all say that we keep saying, we use the word allies, but I think it starts from being open to the world as it's changing, and accepting people's differences as they are. I think it's not just about color of skin, gender, or sexual preferences. I think it's also by style. So the style of individuals, and diversity is also about that. You have introverts, you have extroverts. Everybody has to. There's a place for everybody in this world, and we have to be open about it. We have to also be completely aware of our unconscious biases. They are everywhere, and all of us have them all the time. And if we're curious enough and aware of them, then we can fight those, those concepts and stereotypes that we create in our own minds.
So particularly on unconscious bias, then I think most people, if they saw outright, sexism, racism, any sort of prejudice in the office, would call it out. How do you guard maybe about those unconscious biases, or how would you maybe challenge someone constructively if you saw them exhibiting those types of behaviours, in Berkeley or in the wider world, or on a client site?
So I think one of the key points is, when you see something, call it out. Never fear to call out something that where you might be wrong. It's better to be wrong than to not be. But it's about calling it out in the right way too, because what you don't want is to sort of offend people by calling out. So I think it's finding the right balance. If it's a clear prejudice, then obviously no tolerance.
Of course,
you have to call it out. But most of the time it's not. So it's something that people are not doing consciously. And so
of course,
you just have to help point out what's going on, rather than really be blunt and offend them, because by doing that you might just push them away. So I think it's just finding the right way to do it in a very respectful way. I tend to question and maybe do a bit of an open question. Do you think that might be a little bit difficult? Or in my experience, when this happened to me, I felt this way, maybe we could do it differently. And just by doing that, I guess people start to respond to it and realize their own issues, but not, I think you just have to do it in a nice way, and respectful way, but you have to do it, that's for sure.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and I think particularly against what the Berkeley partnership, last time we chatted and kind of talked through this, your journey and the journey of Berkeley since you've been there. I think one of the things that stood out was, obviously, I think you've got a senior women leadership network. Maybe hopefully I've got that right. And I think when you joined, I think there was 6 females across the business, and it's now gone to, I think you said it's about 50%, which puts you way above kind of anyone else in the space. So I'd be really interested to know, what do you think, I suppose not just yourself, but the Berkeley partnership as a collective has been able to do to create such a a diverse environment from a gender perspective?
Well, I think when I joined, it's not it. I also joined in a context of an industry where women were not dominating the industry at this stage. And Berkeley recruits senior professionals, so we recruit men and women with a minimum experience of 7 to 8 years. So when I joined Berkeley 6 years ago, I guess you kind of go, there weren't that many women and diverse candidates on the landscape, but Berkeley made a choice to make diversity and inclusion a priority in their strategy, and that meant a lot of training and coaching for the partners and the leaders of the organisation. Also across the organisation, we've been working with an external consultancy specialising in diversity and inclusion to help us through the journey. And it started by also recruiting differently, attracting candidates of a more diverse background, attracting more women, attracting different ethnicity, people from different ethnicities. And so it's just consciously really working without compromising the quality of our candidates, but just really having an employment proposition that was appealing to more people than perhaps where we were 6 years ago.
And you've touched upon my favourite subject when you talk about recruiting there, so I really appreciate that. But how do you think you differentiate yourself? Do you think it is because you're running those initiatives and, you know, the fact you've got an external agency coming in and seems to have been buying, you know, from both the top and the bottom and right throughout the business? Do you think that's what created that environment where people felt, you know, it was, you know, I'm trying to think how to explain it. You know, people felt more comfortable joining the organisation because clearly, even if you weren't quite at the point where you were 50-50, you were heading in the right direction and striving to make changes? Or why do you think that was?
Yeah, I think, well, there's first of all is having an offer that appeals to a broader category of people. So enhancing flexible working. I joined part-time, for example. So I joined as a
Yeah,
full week. Now, not many organizations 6 years ago would recruit a senior consultant woman 4 days a week. So appealing to part-time work, offering
yeah,
flexibility is one. We again, training in the recruitment process to ensure that that our recruitment process also appeals to a broader population was important.
yeah.
Working with partners like yourselves to also help us, target a broader
Okay.
category of candidates was important.
Yeah,
Um, and then our marketing has been really important, because the way we present ourselves as Berkeley now, and our marketing
yeah,
campaigns are showcasing the diversity of our organization, and the language that we use in our marketing appeals
yeah.
to more. And we've had to change that, and the external partner that we've worked with has helped us to kind of
Brilliant.
market ourselves using language, using a proposition that appealed to a broader population.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's really interesting. I think there's been lots of great changes that have happened. I think COVID actually helped accelerate a lot of those in terms of the flexible working. But I think you're right. Nobody was offering 4-day weeks for people at your levels 6 years ago. That was almost unheard of. So yeah, I think to have that vision
Yeah.
is hugely impressive. Okay, cool. So as you know, as a senior female leader, sort of within the space and consulting, what challenges and barriers have you faced? I mean, hopefully there's none. I'm almost certain that isn't the case, but yeah.
At Berkeley or before?
Well, well, I guess both. I wasn't sort of pigeonholing it, but it doesn't sound like there would be many at Berkeley, but I could be wrong. But
No, I think it's probably so. Yeah, as a senior woman, I have faced a lot of barriers, to be honest. I mean,
yeah,
one is my own, the imposter syndrome that we talk about all the time, which I don't like this word, but it's such a reality that,
yeah,
it's my own prejudice in some ways, but always finding not having the confidence to step in, and particularly
okay,
when you're in a world surrounded and dominated by men.
yeah,
It's quite hard to find your place and your voice, and you have to find a genuine natural voice, which isn't always easy.
yeah,
But I also think, the other barriers I have found is that there weren't many women role models that I looked up to, because I couldn't
yeah,
identify myself in the older sort of a version of role models. Maybe not older is not the right word, but the 20 years ago I couldn't find a role model that I was going to say, hey, that's fine. and
yeah,
and and um and I guess that's because to be more senior, there was this view and perception that you had to lose your femininity, and you have to or tone it down, hide it.
yeah,
You had to sort of display more sort of male attributes to be successful, be
yeah,
assertive. And so it's hard when you want to preserve your feminine sides, and to find a way to be
yeah,
say, successful like that. So yes, it was I guess these were some of the difficulties. But I also think when I became a mother, um
mhm,
it was really difficult to manage both the work life of being a mother and being an ambitious woman, to have the roles, for people to trust me in giving me the roles and the opportunities at work that would allow me to grow in the same way.
yeah,
And I think, rightly or wrongly, I probably wasn't given those opportunities, because people wanted to protect me, or wanted to allow
yeah,
me, or give me time to sort of manage the two. Actually, what I wanted was a challenging role and
Yeah.
to be a mother. And I think that these were some of the issues I had to face, which probably made my career progression a bit slower because of that.
Okay.
And I had to fight harder to be given the roles that would make me evolve and grow with time than perhaps my men, the colleagues. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. And I think just going back to the point from the last conversation we had as well, I think when you mentioned when you joined the Berkeley partnership as relatively junior compared to some of the other partners, and you said straight away it was a very flat structure and your voice felt equally as sort of heard. Do you think that helped maybe in terms of accelerating that, or again in terms of Berkeley having that what seems to be very forward thinking, or was that a sort of a coincidence down the line?
No, I think in some ways it's healthy because I then stopped looking around what others were doing, but I focused on me. So
Okay,
in a
brilliant.
way, my development became my own responsibility and private and personal to me only.
Yeah,
So I wasn't worried about being stabbed in the back by colleagues, or anything like that, or competition or quotas. It's not at all about that. My
yeah,
development was personal, and I felt
brilliant.
and feel I could do it in a very genuine way, and I could be myself. I
Okay,
think Berkeley allowed me to be who I am, as a woman, as a consultant,
yeah,
as a mother as well, as an ambitious woman, and to grow at my own pace. And I really was ready for accelerated pace, is in a way, and it worked. But I think it was my own trajectory, and that's what was important.
yeah. Well, that's absolutely that's absolutely brilliant to hear. So yeah, very pleased. And obviously you've had a varied career. You've worked for some of the biggest companies out there, and obviously now as a part of the Bartley partnership. What are your sort of proudest achievements in work and also outside of work?
In work, well, my proudest achievements are always when my client's happy. So I've had many, and I keep having, because every project is about doing what's right for our clients, doing what's right for our people. And
Mhm.
so long as we finish with a happy client and happy people who have developed, then that's obviously something to be proud of on every project.
Yeah,
Um, and the target for the next one, so that you never stop trying to do what's right for the clients. But then I guess, I don't think there's any achievement that is personal, but it's more like as a group. I'm really proud of, as I said before, the achievements we've made at Berkeley from a D&I perspective. I'm
yeah.
really proud of the women network that was set up by wonderful women collaboratively at Berkeley to really focus on networking, developing our women. We also are now, we've just finished a pilot where we're sending a few of our sort of more senior women to London Business School and Harvard,
Oh wow.
and for leadership development training courses. And that's something that I'm very proud of. It's because I'm proud of the collective
Yeah.
work and how we collaborate to achieve these results is just wonderful.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely awesome. The other thing as well, so where are we? We're probably midway through Q3, supposed to be what's the height of the British summer, although I don't think it is. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what it's like in New York. But what would you, what would you like to achieve, certainly kind of before 2024, for yourself, for the Bartley Group as a whole?
I think what we want to achieve is, as I say, I guess, continue to do great work where we can, continue to
Mhm.
recruit talented individuals, from the more, talented and different individuals if we can, continue to develop the team. And yeah, I think, love to grow our business by developing with new clients. That would also be amazing.
Yeah, okay, perfect. And then outside of work, as it's definitely seemed like, the work you do is a huge part of your life, but outside of work, what makes you happiest? How do you unwind?
How do I unwind? So I'd like to say I unwind with my children, and I do. I'm very proud of my children, and they, they don't have the most present mummy, but they do really well, and understand that I'm passionate about my work, and we talk about it
Yeah.
all the time, and they're very supportive, which is amazing. Um, I'm a fan of sports that are like kite surfing,
Oh wow.
snowboarding,
Oh wow.
skiing. So
Yeah.
anything that has a bit of
Anything that can
thrills,
injure you.
yeah, adrenaline junkie. So
Okay.
I do like on holidays I do look at where can I go kite surfing or skiing and
Yeah.
snowboarding in the areas that are going to be exciting and thrilling. So yeah, I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie. I cycle a lot too, so
Yeah.
and that I'm not the best cyclist, but what I do love about cycling is it's a great way of exercising, but also just a couple of hours on my own
Yeah.
just to unwind and just for me, and that's really really good. But yeah, so this is,
Yeah.
I love traveling, I love going out with my friends, so all of that is
Awesome.
part of
Just
living.
one quick on that one. So I don't know many people who are in both camps where they ski and snowboard. So if you had to pick one, which one are you going for?
Oh, that's impossible. I can't
Okay.
choose. I choose depending on the snow. So if
Yeah.
the snow's really like fresh snow, I'll probably snowboard.
Yeah.
But if the snow's not that fresh, then
Yeah.
skiing, because then I can go fast. So the ski is for the thrill of the speed.
Yeah.
The snowboard is for the powder. So I love both. I know.
Good. Good answer. And then in one sentence, then appreciate this. That's probably very difficult. But how would you sum up your career so far?
In one sentence. Um, oh gosh. Well, that one you're going to have to cut several times, but yeah.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Sorry, we can revisit that one. To be fair.
no, let me think. Let me think. I guess I've not had the most standard trajectory. Yeah. I mean, I'll do it several times, but I don't have the most common career.
Yeah.
But I think um, I've had a lot of amazing opportunities along the way
Yeah.
that have led to where I am today. But I probably knew from the word go that I wanted to be a partner in
Okay.
consultancy. Yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah,
It's interesting that yeah, you always had that vision, and I guess that probably helped drive you to kind of get where you are.
yeah. I think
Um,
so. Yeah, I do think,
okay.
and I think that's important in some ways, right? It's if I could say it is, I've always known somehow that I wanted to become a partner as and be a consultant and become a partner, but I guess I was looking for the right place for me to do that, and
Yeah.
Berkeley was definitely when the place I knew from the moment I interviewed, this was where I
Yeah.
wanted to become a partner. Yeah.
Love at first sight, or
Love
whatever
at
the
first sight, exactly.
where.
But it does help. Motivation and dedication
Yeah.
and focus does help, I do think.
Annalise, yeah, thank you so much for your time. I've really enjoyed it. It's great to hear about your journey, and I think you mentioned role models and being able, maybe you didn't have some 20 years ago. I think we're obviously in a much more fortunate position, but hopefully someone's out there kind of embarking on their career, and this can kind of help set that, set that in the mind. So yeah, brilliant. Thanks very much.